How's everybody doing? Today, we're recapping the NFL's Week 10 games. It was a pretty exciting week. A lot of big games, a lot of big wins. We saw an upset. We finally saw Philadelphia Eagles go down. If you want to check my reaction to those highlights, make sure to check that out. I posted that last night. Anyway, we're recapping the games. Let's get right into it. Thursday night, we saw the Carolina Panthers defeat the Atlanta Falcons 25-15. Dante Foreman had himself a day, 130 yards on the ground. PJ Walker played okay. I still think they should be sticking with Baker Mayfield. However, if you're going to win games, you're winning games. PJ Walker did exactly that. Falcons. This might be time to actually make the QB switch over to Desmond Ridder. Marcus Mariota was playing pretty solid to start the season, but they got to get W's. They got to get W's if they want to stay in the playoff area. They want to make playoffs. They have to have a solid quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do there. Corral Patterson, their best offensive weapon. Him and Kyle Pitts, not getting really targeted much. So the Falcons, they got to use their weapons to the best of their advantage. But anyway, Panthers move on. Next, Seahawks, Buccaneers in Germany. This game was pretty fun. This game was exciting. We saw the Seahawks get exposed, though. Never doubt Tom Brady. I made a short with him and Aaron Rodgers saying, just never doubt him. Tom Brady played very good against the Buccaneers. against the Seahawks. Buccaneers just in general played very good. Seahawks, I say they got exposed, but they still played some pretty solid football. Geno Smith still played very good. He's very surprising. This is one of the most surprising seasons I've ever seen from a quarterback like Geno Smith. Unbelievable the way he is playing. Anyway, the Seahawks move on to play the Raiders next week, while the Buccaneers go on to play the Browns. Next game, Steelers and Saints. Of course, I'm very excited for this game. Steelers defeated the Saints 20-10. TJ Watt finally came back, first game back in a while. We saw that he made an impact already. Steelers' record was terrible without TJ Watt. However, Steelers don't have Minka Fitzpatrick, and their secondary started to play pretty bad. They were very inconsistent throughout the game. Andy Dalton looking like his prime self against us. Should never happen. But we saw with TJ Watt bring a lot of pressure. Alex Highsmith had himself a day with a couple of sacks. On the Saints side, Alvin Kamara was not getting the ball much. They were dropping a lot of passes. It was tough. Steelers' ground game, Najee Harris had 99 rushing yards. Jaylen Warren had a lot of explosive runs, both receiving and rushing. So I'm happy to see our running game is back. I mentioned this last night in the reaction video with the Commanders and Eagles. It's good to have your offense on the field and control the game, control the clock. Especially with the Steelers struggling all year with the offensive side. Try to control the clock. They were doing that on the ground. I was very happy to see. Kenny Pickett had a rushing touchdown. No receiving touchdowns. No passing touchdowns. I think he needs to pick it up just a bit, but hey, can't ask too much. Looking at the Chiefs and Jaguars game, Kansas City defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-17. We saw Juju got smoked. Helmet was actually called back, so I don't know over there. We saw Kadarius Toney go off. He had himself a pretty nice day. Jaguars, they're struggling, of course, still. It's down year once again. I thought they'd be a lot better with the talent they have. Travis Etienne playing some pretty good football. Not as good as he was the past couple of weeks last week. Jaguars go on to play the Ravens, while the Chiefs go on to play the Chargers. Easily the game of the week. Vikings defeating the Bills 33-30 in Buffalo. Insane day. Kirk Cousins, 357 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Josh Allen, 330 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Josh Allen's been making some terrible decisions lately. Been forcing interceptions the past 3 weeks. I think he has 2 interceptions the past 3 weeks. I don't know what's happening with him. MVP type season going downhill quick. Also fumbled the ball, fumbled the snap on the goal line, which gave the Vikings a free defensive touchdown. Josh Allen got to pick it up, but he's still playing some good football though regardless. Had also 6 carries for 84 yards. He's very talented. He just got to be smarter with his passing decisions. Dalvin Cook, 14 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, big battle. Justin Jefferson, probably catch of the year. 10 receptions, 193 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 12 receptions, 128 yards. Minnesota Vikings, they keep on moving. They're 8-1. Bills, 6-3. The Lions with the shocker, defeating the Chicago Bears 31-30. Lions move on to 3-6. Bears move on to 3-7. Can't believe that the Bears have more losses than the Lions. Hey, Lions, they're very inconsistent, but hey, they could beat anybody. Looking at the leaders, Jared Goff, 236 yards and a touchdown. Justin Fields, 267 yards and 2 touchdowns, but also 147 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Justin Fields is amazing. He really is. Jamal Williams for the Lions, 16 carries, 59 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 10 receptions, 119 yards. Cole Kmet, 4 receptions, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. So Kmet, definitely a tight end to go after in fantasy if he's still available. I doubt he is. Denver Broncos, they're still struggling with so much talent. They lost to the Tennessee Titans 17-10. Titans move on to 6-3. Broncos move on to 3-6. Russell Wilson, 286 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Ryan Tannehill, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tannehill, of course, squashing. That was rumors of Malik Willis being the starting quarterback. Malik Willis is not a starting quarterback in the league, but of course, people just like to overhype stuff. Of course, rushing yards, leaders, not too much for the Broncos. Murray only had 24 yards. Derrick Henry, basically both teams not had a good day on the ground. Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 53 yards, no touchdowns. We saw for the Titans, though, finally, we saw some receiving touchdowns from a receiver. Westbrook, 5 receptions, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Broncos. Virgil, 1 reception, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Also from that game, we saw Jerry Jeudy go out on the first play, so of course that hurts a lot for the Broncos. Doesn't help. However, Broncos still have a lot of talent to be losing like that. Next game, Dolphins killed the Browns 39-17. Browns move on to 3-6. Dolphins move on to 3-7-3. The whole AFC East powerhouse. Looking at the leaders, Jacoby Brissett, 212 yards and a touchdown. Tua Tagovailoa, 285 yards and 3 touchdowns. Very impressive this year Tua is playing. If I was to make up a most improved player, it'd be him and Geno Smith. On the ground, Nick Chubb, 63 yards and another touchdown. Best running back in the league this year. Jeff Wilson, 17 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Peoples-Jones, 5 receptions, 99 yards. Jalen Waddle, 4 receptions, 66 yards. Dolphins, they're a scary team. Definitely be on the lookout. Browns, talented team, but Browns are the Browns. I gotta say it. Giants keep on moving. They improved to 7-2, defeating the Texans 24-16. Texans move on to 1-7-1. But the Giants, of course, we like to say them and the Eagles are fraud teams. They have a cupcake schedule. I gotta agree. But the Giants are still a solid team. I still believe that the Giants are a solid team, but Super Bowl contenders, no. Deep playoff run, no. Playoff spot, yes. They just play some easier teams. Don't have a hard schedule that much. We'll see, though. I still think the Eagles, I keep saying the Eagles. The Giants are still a solid team. Looking at the passing leaders, Davis Mills, 319 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Aaron Jones, playing a lot. Very good football this year. Definitely his best season so far in the NFL. 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the ground, Dameon Pierce, 17 carries, 94 yards. Saquon Barkley, my comeback player of the year. 35 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown. For the Texans, Atkins, 72 receiving yards, and Slayton for the Giants, 3 receptions, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Like I said, Giants, solid team, but still don't think that they're going to be Super Bowl contenders like some people are saying. Now, another good game. Like I said, all week, these games were just amazing. This is a good week. I think this is the best week in the NFL all season. Colts, new head coach Jeff Saturday, no coaching experience, ends up going to beat the Raiders on the road. Okay, Colts move on 4-5-1. Raiders move on to 2-7. They defeated them 25-20. The leaders, Matt Ryan, 222 yards and a touchdown. Derek Carr, 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor's back, 147 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 78 yards and a touchdown. Campbell, 7 receptions, 76 yards and 1 touchdown. Devontae Adams, still, of course, playing solid football, 9 receptions, 126 yards and a touchdown. Raiders, I think they just got to fire McDaniels. I really think that's just all they had to do. Colts, smart move by Jeff Saturday, putting in Matt Ryan. He's their leader. He's the best quarterback on that team. But I don't know. The Raiders are playing some bad football right now. It's hard to say, but still, beating a team like that on the road, first ever game, put in last minute, it's a very impressive win. Very impressive win. But it's still too early to tell how solid, how legit the Colts are. But they're definitely on the right track. Jonathan Taylor healthy, playing like his last year self. Matt Ryan had a big run also on the ground. I think the Colts could be a pretty solid team, though, going down the road. Just still hard to tell. Another great game. Packers coming back to defeat the Cowboys 31-28. Packers move on to 4-6. Cowboys move on to 6-3. Dak Prescott threw for 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers looking like his MVP self, 224 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, I think he's the RB1 now in Dallas, 115 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones, 138 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 11 receptions, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Watson for the Packers, 4 receptions, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. What a day. This game, definitely exciting. I feel like every single Cowboy versus Packers matchup is always exciting. Aaron Rodgers just goes off. It's a good time. Good offensive game. That game, like I said, good solid matchups this week. What is happening with the Rams? They lost to the Cardinals at home 27-17. They move on to 3-6. Cardinals move on to 4-6. And of course, we saw both of the backups for both of the backups for both teams go in. We saw Colt McCoy, throw for 238 yards, a touchdown, and Wolford, 212 yards, a touchdown, and interception. They both did not play bad. Of course, Colt McCoy, he even played solid last year when he was in for Colin Murray for a couple weeks. So Colt McCoy, veteran, we know that. Wolford played pretty good. James Conner, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers, 6 carries, 22 yards. Cam Akers fell off hard. It's a shame. DeAndre Hopkins, 10 receptions, 98 yards. Tyler Higbee, 8 receptions, 73 yards. So the week I drop Higbee, he ends up going off for 73 yards, 8 receptions, even though he's been pretty quiet all week. We saw Cooper Kupp, though, deal with injury. I think he's going to be expected to miss 4 games. He has a high ankle sprain. Cooper Kupp, one of the best receivers in the league. Their whole offense going down. So it's tough. It's tough what the Rams are doing. They might not even make playoffs. And it's unfortunate with the talent that they have. Jimmy G and the 49ers defeated the Los Angeles Chargers 22-16. 49ers are 5-4. Chargers are 5-4. Justin Herbert not playing as good as he should be this year. 196 yards, a touchdown, interception. Jimmy G with 240 yards. Austin Eckler with 6 carries, 24 yards. That's rare. Elijah Mitchell, 18 carries, 89 yards. Carter, 4 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, Chargers are missing their 2 best receivers. And Brandon Ayuk won my fantasy game. Had no clue. Had no faith in him to win it, but he ended up doing it. 6 receptions, 84 yards. 49ers, still a very talented team. Chargers, talented team as well, but they're dealing with injuries. Then, one of the most surprising games of the week. Commanders defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 32-21. It was a close game the whole game. Of course, at the end, they scored off the laterals. Heineke, 211 yards and an interception. Jalen Hurts, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown. Robinson had himself a day. A good comeback story from him. 86 yards and a touchdown. Miles Sanders with 54 yards. Receiving, the leaders were Terry McLaurin, 8 receptions, 128 yards, and Watkins, 4 receptions, 80 yards. A.J. Brown, pretty quiet. Dallas Goedert had a touchdown as well. But he, of course, we missed with that face mask. It was some questionable calls yesterday. Also some big ones that were fair. So officials definitely involved in last week's game. Not saying like it was rigged. I'm just saying they were making a lot of calls both on the Commanders and the Eagles. But the Eagles, I knew they were legit. But anyway, this reminded me of the game from the 2020 Eagles. It was pretty tough. 2020 Steelers when we were 11-0 at home. Commanders come in, or the football team at the time, came in and beat us. It was a shame. Anyway, good win for the Commanders. What should they do though? Carson Wentz or Taylor Heineke? Stick with Heineke. They're winning games. We saw last year though, Heineke did not play that good of football when they stuck with him at QB1. That's the main reason why they went after Carson Wentz. So we'll see. He didn't play too good of a game though. 211 yards and an interception. But they're winning games. That's all that matters. Hope you guys enjoyed my preview. We're getting better. This is definitely sharper than last week. Last week I was all over the place on my recaps, not previews. I keep messing up words too. My recap from week 10. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.